Merle die Nähterin, Merle the seamstress. Merle die Nähterin ist Merlweis gewesen a freiliche, a lacherike, mit a schwarzen Finkel in die Augen, und alle Bocherin von Arum Stiebelachwald haben sich mit ihr gewollt kuschen. So Merle the seamstress, in her youth, was a happy person, a laughing person with a dark, I don't know, it's just, a wink in her eyes, and all the guys from the neighborhood from the neighboring forest houses wanted to kiss her. Stolier, Itzig Zwilling von die Arbeiter, was haben gekämpft gegen Kaiser und gesungen, Brüder und Schwester in Arbeit und Neut. So she got married to all of us. This is what the war is doing to me. Stolier, carpenter, Itzig Zwilling, this was his name.
Most likely because he was a twin.
He was a twin, okay.
It looks that way from his name.
Maybe, okay, yeah. He was from those workers who were fighting against the ruler, and sang brothers and sisters in work and in need.
Brüder und Schwestern arbeiten Neut. Ja, das ist ein bekanntes Lied.
Ja, okay. Die Mädchen haben gesagt, als Hotsch Itzig ist ein guter Bucher, ist nicht kein zu guter Verdiener. You have gossip already. The girls were saying that even though Itzig was a good guy, he wasn't too good a provider. And is es nicht gewesen kein Chesorn. For Merle, it wasn't it wasn't a drawback. Sie ist von ihm nicht abgestanden, nicht in Verdiensten und nicht in Heldigkeit. She did not dismiss him. She because of because of low earnings or courage.
I think abgestanden here means she was not less than him, neither in her ability to earn nor in her heroism.
Okay, can you say at the beginning of the sentence? I didn't hear.
Yeah, the abstanden, I think here means to be less than. She was not diminished. She was not less than he was. Let me see if I can get a better definition here.
I never saw this word used like this.
I'm still looking in my dictionary to see
if I think I looked it up and it said she was not behind him.
Yeah,
she was
to lag
she was
behind.
as good as he was.
Now, abstehen
Okay.
is to lag.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Wenn ist gegangen auf Demonstratie, so sie marschiert bei seiner Seite. When he was going to demonstrations, she was marching by his side. Zu ihr hat sich euch geschattend a reicher Markthändler, a Freund, Moischke Zirulnik, hat man ihm gerufen. Nor hat sich geheißen rufen Moritz. So there was someone who was courting her for marriage purposes. And his name was Mochke Cyrulnik.
He was a frant. A frant is a dandy. A frant, a dandy, a gentleman, fashionable.
He was something like I know, something like a dandy.
Yes.
An elegant guy. That's a front. And
a Cyrulnik is a barber.
And his name was Moritz, but his name was really Moischke. Mehrers schavert es die Neterens und Henschke-Macherkes haben Moritzen Feind gehabt für sein Oblachen von die Arbeiter, was gehen gegen russischen Käse. So, Meryl's girlfriends, the girlfriends of Meryl, the seamsters, the seamstresses, and those who were glove makers, they hated Moritz because he was making fun of those workers who are against the Russian ruler. Euch mehr lot ihm nicht verlieten für seinen schlechten Charakter, für seine schittere gelbe Haar, ungeschmiert mit Pomade und verkämmt mit der Rind inmitten und für seine schmalzige, zeglite Egelach und stärke und stechigen Schmeichele. So they Meryl couldn't stand him because of his bad character, because of his thin yellow hair that smeared with ointment.
Pomade or pomade, yeah. It's a hairstyling grease.
And combed with a part in the middle of the head. And because of his eyes that were fatty, schmalzig, or surrounded with fat, and I don't know Zeglite, how to Zeglikte Egelach. Zeglikt is smoothed out, right? Therefore,
No,
what is
Glean is to smolder.
How it is used here? Zeglite Egelach.
It's to smolder. Are
you there?
I don't know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So Moshe can hear me. So
Zeglita,
it sounds like Rachel cannot hear us. Zeglita means glowing.
And his smile that was a kind of freaking smile. Schon besser an eurem Engel von mein Gleichen hat sie getracht. und Hassan Negead mit dem Stolier. It is better already to take a poor guy who's equal to my level, she thought, and she went and she married the carpenter.
I'm just checking. Can people hear me?
Ja, ja.
Wenn a kränklicher und gleich noch der Hasene haben ihm genommen, ausfallen die Zehen. The wedding, they started, his teeth started to fall. Aber hat gehorvet, ganze Tag bis a Stück in der Nacht. Abi verdienen. But he was working hard whole days to late at night as long as he could earn money. Merl ist gewesen a wilde Zieg, wie es haben sie gerufen, ihre Schwester und ihre Mame, die Almone, und sie nicht, ihre Schwester und ihre Mame, die Almone, und sie nicht verstanden, für was ihr Mann ist ständig versorgt. Merl was like a wild goat, as her sisters and her mother, the widow, not understand for was worried. So sie euch verdrossen, nachsoll hat sich im Ganzen abgeschlagen von seiner Chaverim. It also bothered her that he completely withdrew from his friends, the revolutionists. Wenn Itzig hat gehorvet und was meiste Marashchora, when Itzig was working hard and when in a bad mood, he gekait Hilzerne Struschkes, when in a bad mood, he was chewing wood
shavings.
She hat sie gelacht und übergesungen bei der Nähmaschine, alle Lieder, was sie hat gekannt. She was laughing and singing by the sewing machine, all the songs that she knew. Okay, somebody else take over.
All right, let me just point out.
Not in my best today.
In the previous paragraph, there was
this
very strange word, nachzol.
Yes, I wanted to ask about that.
Nachzol means why, farvos. So she also was annoyed why it would be that he had entirely separated himself from his friends. It's an unusual word.
What unusual?
Nachzol.
Yeah.
Can I read?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wenn es ist ausgebrochen am Milchome mit dem Deutsch, when the war broke out with the Germans, hat man dem Stolier zugenommen in Militär. They took the, was a bricklayer?
No, he's a carpenter.
A carpenter, excuse me, a carpenter. They got him into the military. Is a weg auf Mizrach Freisen. He went to the Western Front.
Preußen
No,
is
Preußen is a Prussia, Prussia.
Oh,
And-
East Prussia.
Ja,
Auf Mizrach Preußen mit dem ersten Orenburger Polk, with the first Orenburg troop.
brigade, yeah.
Was is gestanden in Vilna, which was based in Vilna, und Merel hat lang gedenkt die Jalule von die Weiblach, and Merel long remembered the crying out of the wives beim Gesegnen sich mit seiner Männer, when they said goodbye to their menfolk. Mobilisierte Soldaten in einem mit ihr Mann, the mobilized soldiers, the called up soldiers, together with her husband. A kurze Zeit später seien von Front umgekommen Ideas. A little time later, there was news that came from the front, as der Orenburger Polk, that the Orenburg troop is a room Mizrach Preußen, a Rhine in mitten Blottes, is
in Tiefe block.
oh,
Tiefe. Deep.
that the Orenburg brigade went into East Prussia, a Rhine in a tiefe Blotte, and there was great mud, und is dort geworden ausgeschnitten, and there it was broken up. The troop was broken up. Geratevet haben sich bloß gezählte. Only a few were saved. Merel hat gehofft, als ihr Mann ist zwischen die Geratevete. Merel hoped that her husband was among those that was saved. Hat sie genommen, warten, die Milchume soll sich endigen, and she was waiting for the war to end. Und ihr Itzig soll zurückkommen von Gefangenschaft, that she was waiting for the war to end so that her Itzik would come back to her from his imprisonment. Derweil is in Vilna Rhein der Deutsch, und in Stutt hat sich ungeheuben der große Hunger. Meanwhile, into Vilna, the Germans came into the town, and that's when they began there was a great hunger. Merel hat gemusst vergessen ihre eigene Zures. Merel had to forget her own Zures, her own troubles, und aushalten ihr Mammen, and take care of her mother. Was hat gewohnt in einem mit ihr, the mother who lived together with her, und ihr jünger Schwester Golde, and her younger sister Golde, in their Jerusha Stiebel, they lived together in their family-owned house in Ruzele. Is that a name of a place?
Yeah,
Ruzele?
looks like that, yeah.
Merel hat euch bedarf helfen, ihr ältere Schwester Gute. And Merel also had to help her older sister Gute, was hat Chasene gehad mit den Schere Motje, who had married Motje. And what was this a Schere?
Barber.
What?
Barber. Yeah, the
Barber.
other, Moritz was a barber.
Oh, a cutter, a Schere, a barber Motje. a shicker und a foiler, a drunk and a lazy guy, mit dem Zunamen der Giche Pamelech, and his nickname was the fast, slow guy. Die Neiterin is Beteva Gewein a Mutika. The seamstress was by her nature a Mutika. Would that be a moody person? Or a
No,
good,
with a good mood.
a good okay.
Like she was described as she was always happy and laughing.
Okay,
They're
she was always in a good mood.
They're
Sie
courageous.
hat sich a viel nicht verloren, beeist die Schlochten seine vorgekommen in Stutt, Gufa, und so she even did not leave off coming at the time of the killing. Her coming to the town itself, und Keulen haben gepfeift über den Kopf when bullets were sounding right by her head, passing by her head. Sie hat sich aber ständig verloren, wenn der Markhändler Moritz hat Geseder ausgesucht, Tiruzim rauf zu kommen und sie stechen mit seiner Red. But she always just felt lost when the merchant Moritz would usually come or look for excuses to come and stick her with and bother her with his loose talk. No, wo schreibt dir etwas dein Itzik? So what have you heard from has Itzik written to you? Moritz is geblieben an alter Bocher und ihm is gegangen in Leben. Moritz was a bachelor and he hated it. Oh, he hated that. Als die Nähterin soll sich reißen, die Hure von Kopf, hau mai, sie hat Chassene gehabt, nicht mit ihm. And he couldn't stand the fact that the seamstress should be tearing, that shouldn't,
No.
that she's
Gangan
not
and Laban.
tearing her hair.
It was a life's his life's goal. It was his life's goal that the seamstress would tear up her hair from her head because she married.
He had-
she didn't marry him.
She had not married him.
And he
Pulling
wanted
her
he
hair
mar-
out because she had not married him.
he wanted her to greatly regret her marriage to her husband. That's what it is.
Aber Meryl hat getracht, Punkt, das Verkehrte. But Meryl thought exactly the opposite. Als wie is nicht bitter und schlecht, is noch als besser wie wollt gewesen beim Gaalnehmer Moschke Cyrulnik. But Meryl thought exactly the opposite. That is not better. Even though it's bitter and bad, it's better than it would have been with the guy who he makes your goal, makes you the anger making guy, Moshka Cyrulnik. She's glad she didn't
Yeah, let me point out some grammar here.
marry Moshe Cyrulnik.
May I point out?
Yeah, I gotta get something to drink. So
Yeah, that expression "vi nit is" which we see there. As wie is nicht bitter und schlecht means however bitter and bad it is, it's still better than if she had married him. So wie nicht is means however much. And let me also point out that a Cyrolnik is a barber, and a Cyrolnia is a barber shop.
Oh. It's a Slavic word?
Must be. Well, shall I take over then? Or Moshe, would you like to read?
Sure, if you'll bear with me.
Sure.
Okay. Die Milchoma hat sich geendigt und von deutscher Gefangenschaft seien zurückgekommen, die Leben gebliebene von Oranienburger Polk. Die zurückgekommen haben erzählt.
Translate sentence by sentence. So translate
okay.
that.
The war finished, and from German captivity, those who remained alive returned. Those who had remained alive from the Oranienburger Polk brigade came back.
And Orenburg is a district in Russia. It's one of the oblasten in Russia, not very close to where the war was, but that was the name of that particular regiment.
Okay. Die returning guys, die zurückgekommenen, haben erzählt, dass von der 11. Rate, wo Itzig Zwilling, and the return soldiers told that that from the 11th brigade, presumably.
Yeah, a Rote is a company, a military company.
Company where Itzig Zwilling hat gedient, served, is nicht übergeblieben, kein ein Mensch, not a single soul survived. Sie seien alle reingefallen in samme ersten und größten Feier. They all fell with the first and greatest fire or battle, I assume. Merrill hat abgeweint ganze Nacht und ist euch bei Tag bei der Nähmaschine gesessen mit geschwollenen Augen. So Merrill cried nights long and even daytime at the sewing machine. She sat with swollen eyes. Wenn die Bolschewiken seien heraus und die Poljaken seien herein, hat euch Hasne gehabt, Golda, die jüngste Schwester, und hereingetroffen mit einem Mann auf Feulen und einem Schicker, punkt wie die älteste Schwester. And when the Bolsheviks came in, when the Bolsheviks went out and the Poles came in, the younger sister Golda also got married. And do you think that's an error? To me, to be hereingetroffen.
Found herself.
Sorry?
Treffen is to find.
Oh.
So she found herself with I think that's it.
Yeah. She found herself with a husband, lazy and a drunk, exactly like the older sister. Die Autoren hat nicht gekannt, herübergezogen, ihre Schwester Golda, bei sich bis halben Tag, die Autoren hat nicht gekannt, herübergezogen, wie ihre Schwester Golda, bett sich bis halben Tag bei vollen Luder, soll herunterkriechen vom Bett, und einmal hat Merrill als Schneider getan, ihr eiserner Scher auf der Erde. Sie soll von Aufregung nicht werfen, die Scher in ihr Schwager. And the seamstress couldn't stand how her sister Golda had to beg half a day, her lazy lot, he should get off the bed, and once Merrill threw the scissors on the ground, that she shouldn't, because of her agitation, not throw the scissors at her brother-in-law. Demmelt is
Just a second. Luder, is that the name of the husband? Luther? It's not a Jewish name. You translated it as Laut. Is that a standard word for Laut?
I don't know. I assumed it meant Laut.
I found that Luder is idler, somebody who's idle.
Okay. I'll just write that down.
For Luder is it's like
An
Luder
idler,
is
yeah.
a synonym for lazy, idle. It's like, goes together.
Okay. Anyway, it's not a good thing. And only then he jumped off his bed und sich auf ihr geworfen, and he threw himself at her, aber sie hat bewiesen, rauszuläufen vom Stub, but she managed to run away out of the house. Der Vater hat der Schwager hier auf Lahachis sich zu neu gechavert mit dem Markhändler Moishka Cyrulnik, and therefore, in order to spite her, the brother-in-law became friendly with Moishe Cyrulnik, the market businessman. Und der Markhändler hat mehr nicht bedarf suchen kein Ausrede, wie reinzukommen zu der Neitoren mit ihr sich reizen. And so the market guy didn't have to find any excuses to come in and tease the seamstress. Letztens what has up this one, recently he had this kind of chant or
this one is like a song.
A song, yeah, chant. But there's
chant.
something.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Maybe the word refrain, it's repeated.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's even better, yeah, right.
Die Milchoma hat sich schon geendigt, the war is finished, der Kaiser hat man abgeworfen, the Tsar has been overthrown, und du bist noch als Neitoren, and you're still a seamstress, dazu noch an Agune, and in addition, you're an Agune, a woman whose husband is lost, but you don't know if he's dead or not. Ihr hat schon von ihm so geekelt, als sie hat ihm auf viele nicht geantwortet. She was so nauseated, disgusted by him, that she didn't even bother to answer him. Merrill hat bei sich abgemacht, sich rauszukleiden, was unter und Potter werden sei von Cyrulnik und sei von ihr Schwager. So she decided to move out on her own, was unter, and get rid of both Cyrulnik and the brother-in-law. Sie hat gewollt mitnehmen euch die Mama. She wanted to take her mother with. Die Verdiensten wollen Kletten verbeten. There'll be enough earnings for both. Nur die Mama hat geantwortet, als die Tochter darf wohnen mit einem Mann. But the mother, very traditional, said that the daughter has to live with her husband, not just a man. Nicht mit ihr, was mit einem Mann, nicht mit ihr, not with her. Was wird sein, what will happen? Hat die Alte geklagt, the old woman complained. Die andere Weiblich, was ihre Männer seien gewähnt, mit Itzik in einer Rotte, haben schon Chasna gehabt, und Merrill sitzt noch. The other women whose husbands had been with Itzik in the same company have gotten married again, and Merrill is still on her own. Ihr Itzik ist doch gewesen ein ordentlicher junger Mann und wollte sie nicht übergelost, kein Agune. Itzik was a decent guy and wouldn't have left her to be an Agune. Ist doch zu sehen, wie auf der Glonia, als ist mehr nicht tot zwischen die You could see as if on your palm, your hand, that he is no longer among the living. Aber die Tochter will hier nicht Anton dem Nachas und noch einmal passen. But the daughter doesn't want to give her the pleasure of getting married again, but sie besser gehen in Moshe's CHAIM. So she'll rather go to the old age home. Ihre Augen sollen die Zorus nicht sehen, so she shouldn't see all the Zorus, the problems. As Merrill that weinen basunder, but sie efter neemt sich zu bleiben. Perhaps she'll get someone if she's living on her own. Someone else want to read.
Okay, let me take over here. Nicely read, Moshe.
Okay.
Kayla is a vek in Moshe's CHAIM. Kayla went off to the old age home. That must be the mother's name. Und Merel hat sich herausgezogen von der Stiebel in Rusale auf Polotzkergas. And Merel moved away from their little house in the Rusale district to the Polotzky street. Sie hat mit der Kieven ausgeklippen a schitter bewohnte Gegend und wo keiner setzt sie nicht. She intentionally found a not heavily, a thinly inhabited district where no one would know her. Men soll auf ihr nicht legen kein Nebech. No one should say Nebech about her. Polotzkergas ist herumgeringelt mit Gärtner und in der Noent ist der jüdische Besäulem. The Polotzky Street was surrounded with gardens and was very close to the Jewish cemetery. Die Mesim führt man rüber dem Brick Ruf Zareche, vorbei dem Mark, und zurück geht man, laut dem wie der Minig ist, durch einen anderen Weg, durch der Polotzker. People would carry the corpses over the bridge that went over the Zarechke near the marketplace, but they would go back, as was the custom, by a different route, and that was through the Polotska. These are all streets, I'm sure, in old Vilna. Grada lived in Vilna in his youth. This is Frühlingszeit, so it was spring. Merel sitzt in ihr neuer Dire, eingebeugen auf der Nähmaschine. Merel is sitting in her new apartment, bent over her sewing machine. Und ihr dacht sich, als sie hört schorchen und schuschken sich, die Millimilliarden Blätter auf die Bämer in die arumike Gärtner. And it seems that she can hear whispering and noises of the millions of leaves on the trees in the gardens around. In offenem Fenster fliegt eine Biene. Through the open window, a bee flies in, klappt sich etliche Mal ab ins Suffit und fliegt bald zurück heraus. It knocks a few times into the ceiling and then it flies soon back out. Wie sie wollt entlaufen von verwelkte Blumen, as if it were flying away from withered flowers. Merel is also hereingewachsen in der Stillkeit, als das Jumenisch von der herausgeflogener Bien bleibt lang zittern in ihrem Meuch. Merel was so grown into the silence that the humming of this bee that had flown out still remains trembling for a long time in her mind. Wie eine übergerissene goldene Strune, like a golden string that had been broken. Nimmt sie hastig drücken auf den Maschinentreter. She begins quickly to stamp on the machine pedal. This is a manual pedal sewing machine. Sein stollener Geräusch soll vertäuben das Jumenisch in ihr Kopf, so that its metallic sound should deaden the humming in her mind. Und der Faden in Nodel zieht sich wie ihr Elend, zieht sich on a sof. And the thread in the needle pulls. It's just like her loneliness is pulling. It pulls without end. Sie der Herr tritt auf der Gas, als tritt. Versteht sie, als jeden gehen zurück von der Levaya. She hears footsteps in the street, many footsteps, and understands that people are coming back from a funeral. Steckt sie heraus dem Kopf von der Fenster auf den ersten Stock und guckt nach die Jeden, bis sie verschwinden. She sticks her head out of the little window on the first story and looks out and looks and watches the people until they disappear. Merel bleibt wieder sitzen, allein in der sonniger Stillkeit und horcht, wie die Blätter auf die Bäume in die aromige Gärtner schorchen und schuscheln sich. Merel remains again sitting by herself in the sunny silence and again listens to how the leaves are rustling in the trees of the gardens about. They rustle and they whisper. Yankov, your turn. Yankov, I cannot hear you. Is your microphone on?
Sorry.
Yes, now it's there.
I forgot to put it on, sorry. Einmal kommt ihr euch zu sein auf der Levaya von ein alter Bekannter, noch von die Mädelsche Jahren. Once she happened to be at the funeral of an old acquaintance from her young days, young years. Hört sie, wie die Weiber ihre amolige Chavertes schreien rein in offenem Käfer zu der Verstorbenen, als sie soll sein eine gute Bitterin für sie mit ihrer Mannen und Kinderlach. And she heard how the women, her erstwhile friends, were shouting into the open grave to the deceased that she should be a good intercessor for them and their husbands and their little children. Noch ein verschiedene die Grube stuppen sich die Weiber herum Feldhasen und etliche Bet ihm machen an Elmal Mole Rachamim in ihr Nomen und in Nomen von ihr Mishpocha. So once the grave had been covered, they crowded, the women crowded around the cemetery chazan, and several of them begged him to say the prayer for the dead, and in her name and in the name of her family. Merel wandert sich auf ihre Chavetes. Merel was surprised at her friends. Mädelweis seien sie gegangen auf Demonstrations gegen russischen Zar und sie, was von sie ist geworden. When they were young girls, they attended demonstrations against the Russian Tsar. And look what's happened to them now. Eider die Freuen gehen herunter von Besalem, ringeln sie die Natorin. So before the women left the cemetery, they crowded around the seamstress und fragen mit verwandter Penemer, was sie macht. And they asked her tearfully how she was doing. Sie verantworten sich als man ist befallen mit kinderlich und verjagt und nicht wenn die ist nicht da, wenn die Näs euch zu schneizen. So they justified themselves that they were very involved with their little children and they were very busy and there was no time even to blow their noses. Es ist Wind und Weh zu die Jahren, als man trifft sich nur auf Levias. The years fly by.
No. It's a terrible shame, is what Wind und Weh zu die Jahren means here. It's a terrible shame.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's a terrible.
Oh, sorry. Yankov, you were thinking of vai in Afrikaans, waving.
Oh, yeah, perhaps. Okay. So it's a terrible shame that the years go by and one only meets at funerals.
And of course, at funerals, you often see this expression, not necessarily in these words. Let's meet auf Simchas. We hardly ever see each other. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Und die Weiber verendigen mit verklogten Stimmen, wie früher beim Beklagen die Verstorbenen. And the women end with teary voices in the same way that they lamented earlier to the deceased woman. Merke, was siehst du mit verlegter Hand? Merke, why do you sit with folded hands? Hop Chassene, willen wir sich noch einmal in Leben treffen auf a Simcha. Get married so that we can once again, or that we can once more have a meet at a Simcha. Anstatt entfern, schmeichelt sie und lässt die Weiber weggehen, on ihr mit dem Ausred, als sie will noch zugehen zu ihr Vaters Käfer. Instead of answering, she smiled at them and let the women leave with the pretext that she wanted to go and visit her father's grave. Meryl bleibt allein und guckt auf den frischen Erdbergel, wie sie wollt gefragt bei der Teuter wegen noch einmal Chassene haben. Meryl remained alone, looking at the fresh mound of earth, as if she was asking the dead person, the deceased, about getting married once again. Auf der zweiten Seite Bergel steht der Feldchasen ungespart auf sein Stecken und guckt auf der Nähterin. On the other side of the mound, the cemetery chazan was standing, leaning on his stick. Leaning on his stick. And looking at the seamstress.
This concept, Feldchazen, have you seen that before? A Feldchazen?
No, but I found the word feld. One of the meanings of the word feld is a cemetery.
Right, that makes sense. A chazan who is employed by the cemetery.
Yeah. So he wasn't actually employed by the cemetery, we read a bit later, but he used to go to the cemetery and do the funerals and do all the religious stuff that has to be done. Hat gehört, was ihre Chavetes haben gerät zu ihr, and he heard what her friends had said to her. Der Feldchazen fragt sie will nicht machen a Haskora. Und wenn Merel schockelt mit dem Kopf auf ja, will wissen ihr Namen und ihr Tatensnamen. So he asked her if she didn't want to make for him to say the memorial prayer. And when Merel nodded that she would like to, he wanted to know her name, and the name of her father. Nimmt Auszickeln dem El Malay Rachamim und stellt sich op in der Mitte. Sie soll ihm heißen, der Monnen, ihr Mann und die Kinderlach. So he started singing with flourishes, the El Malay Rachamim, and stopped in the middle to ask whether he should mention her husband and her children. Das will noch einmal sich der kundigen, sie hat gut gehört und verstanden die Rede von die Idenes, as ot die Freu is allein. And he also wanted to inquire whether he had heard properly and understood what the women had said, that this woman was on her own, was alone. Der Chazen zet as die Freu ruft sich Takke nicht op. Krijgt unter beim Verendigen die Haskora mit groß Ginzigkeit, wie wollt maskier ne Schomme gewinn a leibliche Kräuver. So the Chazen spoke up.
No, he sees that she's not answering.
Ruft sich Takke nicht, that he sees that she's not answering, and he groans as he ends the memorial prayer with great intensity, as if he wanted to mention the soul of a very dear relative.
A personal relative. Yeah, leiblich.
Okay, a personal relative, right. Die Nähterin will ihn bezahlen, entfert der Chazen as hat es niet getan for geld. So the seamstress wanted to pay him, but the chazan answered her that he was not doing this for money, or wanting to be paid. Auf ein vernachtigen Feld seinen mehr nicht auch kein Levias, und beide gehen in einem herunter von Besalem. It was late afternoon, and the cemetery, there were no further funerals in the cemetery, and both of them together left the Besalem, the cemetery. Right.
Well, we've all had a chance. Anyone who wants can take over. I think, Susan, it would be your turn.
Okay. Auf dem Weg erzählt der Nähterin, als sein Numen ist Kalman Maitis. On the way there, he tells the seamstress that his name is Kalman Maitek. Von Fach is a Stubmaler. His trade is as a house
Painter.
What's Maler?
Painter.
Oh, a house maler, a house painter. Nor letztens is nicht da kein Arbeit, but recently there isn't any work. Azoi wie is euch about Tfila, and also because he's been repentant.
No. Azoivi, seeing as he's also able to recite the prayers about Tefillah.
Oh, there isn't talking. Azoi wie is euch about Tfila. Oh, that he is somebody who's versed in the prayers. Geht auf dem Feld machen Haskoras. He goes around making, and what would be Haskoras?
Memorial services. And Feld here is the cemetery. He goes to the cemetery to recite the El Mole Rachamim.
Oh, it's from the root Zachar?
Yes.
Oh. Ob sie will wissen dem ganzen Emes, if she wants to know the whole truth, wird ihr sagen dem ganzen Emes. He'll tell her the whole truth. As
Unknown caller.
As eigentlich hat sich zugewohnt gehen auf dem Feld, sind sein Weib ist gestorben. Please shut off my phone. Okay. Excuse me. I'm trying to find. He'll tell her the whole truth. Actually, that he is used to going on over the fields since his wife
To the cemetery.
To the cemetery since his wife died. Kommt einmal auf dem Feld und gefindt dort alle Weihe. So when he comes to the cemetery and he finds a funeral, nor der alter Chazen is nicht do, and then if the old Chazen, the cantor, is not there.
Yeah, this is once, einmal. Once he comes and the old Chazan isn't there.
Or once he comes in and the Chazen is not
Yeah,
there.
he's reciting why he became what he is now. One time when he came to the cemetery,
Oh,
there happened to be a Levaya and the Chazen was missing.
Cemetery and the old Chazen was not there. Hat sich merachim gewein auf die Begleiter, and so he had rachmunus, he had pity on the mourners. Und und Mischar
Maskir.
und Maschir gewesen die Lebedicke für die Teute. And he wanted to say a blessing from the live people over the dead people.
Yeah, for the sake of the live ones, Maskir, he gave a memorial for the dead.
Oh, Zachar, remember them, memorial. Sind demult is by ihm geworden a Gewohntschaft gehen von Zeit zu Zeit auf dem Besäulung. Since then, he became used to going from time to time to the cemetery. Aber gleich wie kriegt Arbeit bei sein Fach, but whenever he has work in his trade, warft es weg. When he gets work, he doesn't take it, he throws it away. Es kann sein, soll es wegwerfen noch früher. And he could even get rid of, not do that work even earlier. Hat gehört die Frauen reden, as sie is allein. He heard the women talking that she, we're talking about the Natarin, is alone, has no spouse. Will fragen, wo is ihr Mann? He wants to ask her, where is her husband? Is nicht zurückgekommen von der Milchoma. Did he not come back from the war? Die Milchoma hat sich doch schon geendigt mit so viel Jahren zurück. And the war ended so many years ago. Is a wonder as sie fragt nicht beim Rabbonim. And since the war ended so many years ago, it's strange that she didn't ask the Rabbonim what to do. Is an alman etliche yor. He himself is a widower several years. Kann schon mehr nicht aushalten, das allein sein. He just can't stand anymore being alone. Sie wohnt auf Polotsker. Does she live on Polotsker Street? Geht doch vorbei ihr Haus etliche Mal, wenn geht auf dem Feld. He goes by her house a couple of times when he's going to the cemetery. Der Feldhasen begleitet sie bis ihr Wohnung und wünscht ihr noch. The funeral Chazen talks to her, accompanies her to where she lives, and he wishes her, man soll sich treffen auf Simchas, and he says maybe to her that may they only meet on good occasions. Meryl bleibt stehen auf die Treppe. Meryl stays motionless on the steps. Spart dem Kopf aufm Porridge. And I tried to find out what the word is porridge means.
Porridge. It's a railing.
It's what?
Railing.
I can't hear.
Railing, the back of a chair, or in this case, the railing.
The railing. Oh, so Meryl stays on the steps and she leans her head on the railing. Und tracht, as ihr Mama is gerecht. And she's thinking that her mother's correct. Itzik is mehr nicht zwischen die Lebendige. Itzik is no longer among the living. Sie gedenkt ihm, aber fühlt ihm nicht mehr in ihr Herzen. She remembers him, but she no longer feels his presence in her heart. Sad. Okay.
Well, we still have 5 minutes. Moshe, would you like to read a little bit of the next chapter? Der Feldhasen schatten sich. You are muted. You're muted.
Oh, so can I just see what this is?
Ah.
Sorry, I'll have to call them later. Okay. Der Feldhasen schatten sich. Eine Woche später hört Merrill, wie unter ihr Fenster auf der stiller Polotsker Gas dreht sich Emmett herum. A week later, Merrill heard under the window on the quiet Polotsker street, someone's turning, sort of wandering around outside. Klappt mit der Stecken in die Brucksteiner und hust op etliche Mal. She
No,
Unknown
he
caller.
most likely.
sorry, she hits,
No, the person outside knocks with
he's banging on the pavement,
cobblestones.
paving stones, and is coughing a few times. Brook is
Brook is the cobblestone.
cobblestones, yeah. Man soll ihm der Herrn, that he wanted to be heard. Merrill ruckt aus dem Kopf durch ein Fenster. Merrill puts her head out of the window. In der Seite in draußen dem Feldhasen. She puts her head out of the window and sees the Feldhasen outside. Coleman Maters, Coleman's there, was guckt auf zu ihr Stiebel, who's looking up to her apartment. Wenn man sucht ihr, fragt sie mit der Verschädigkeit von Korten, Fahrwerke, a schwarze Zigeunerin. Who are you looking for? She asks with the Verschäd is
Insolence.
debauched or
Well, here, insolence.
the insolence of a card, someone who tells fortunes, a black gypsy. Coleman Maters entfert als sucht a Haus, wo man soll ihm machabit sein mit a kalten Trinkwasser. Coleman says that he's looking for a house where people will be gracious and give him a drink of cold water. Merrill geht ihm öffnen die Tür und trappt dabei, als sie hat schon abgesummert. Merrill goes to open the door and thinks in addition that she has passed the summer. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that she's no longer a spring chicken, something like that.
Okay. She's past the prime.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Zuerst schatten sich Beethoven a Jew from the cemetery is courting her. Coleman kommt herein in Stub mit seinen Feldstecken. Coleman comes into the room with his stick. Wer wollte gewähnt der Malach Adome, was klappt beim Barminnen auf dem dritten Tag noch der Kura. Okay, so Coleman comes in with his stick as if he was one of these angels around the, I'm not sure which angel this one is, but it's one of the angels who is banging at the corpse on the third day after the burial. Oh, probably to tell him to come up for judgment. Do you know which angel it is?
Yeah, Malach Aduma is the angel of silence.
Oh, okay.
And apparently this angel, Malach Aduma, is the one who receives the dead into the next world. This is the Neshama.
So it's not one of the judging angels.
How many angels are there?
And how many can actually dance on the head of a single pin? I've just looked at the Wikipedia. There is an entry for Duma, a Malach. And it's Besifros Chazal, Duma, who Shmo Shal Hamalach Hamamuna al Ruchos Hamesim. It's the angel who has sway over the souls of the dead. That's all I can find easily in Wikipedia.
Okay. Vergisst, also hat nur was gekalischt Trunkwasser. He forgets that he's just been dying for a drink of water. Setzt sich weg beim Tisch und fragt, sits down at the table and asks, ihr seid gewesen beim Rabbonim? Have you been with the rabbis?
It's now quoted